Hello. Today we are doing part 2 of Scary Stories. By the way, if you didn't watch the first one, watch the first one, please. Because, yeah. Here am I gonna tell you again. Watch the first one. And the last one I said, none of these are real. Yep, none of them are real. None of these stories are real. So let's get started. Ooh, hello, Booga. Okay. I was acting like that. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Stephanie. And every single day, she always looked in the closet because she kept hearing this sound. And she didn't know why there was always a sound. All she kept seeing is her shirt on the ground. She never knew why, because she never even goes in her closet. But she does to get her clothes and her shirt. But she doesn't remember dropping any. And she doesn't remember hearing anything fall at that time. Always at night she hears things, like something happens in the closet. Then one night, on February 14th, 2022, fake, she looked in the closet at night, 3 a.m., because she kept hearing noises at night. She opened it. She looked up. She saw, oh God, and she said, oh no, very softly. And then all she saw was a guy with green eyes staring into her soul. And she kept seeing dust all around his face, like moving, kind of, and then she started coughing. And then when she was coughing, she opened her eyes again, disappeared. And if you want more details about that monster, here it is. The monster had green eyes. He had 2 ears, but it looked like dog ears. He had a long snout, and he had ketchup on his teeth. Probably ate too much burgers. And guess what? The worst part of all, he had sharp teeth. And he looked like he can eat meat all day. I see you. I see you. Okay. And she screamed, ah! Her parents woke up. They ran straight to her room. They were wondering why she was screaming. She said, closet. And she started tearing up so badly. Like, closet. They looked in the closet. They looked under the bed. They looked everywhere. Then they went away. Except for one place. The cabinets in her room. Where her pants are. And then, in the morning, she thought it was all fine. She went in a drawer in her cabinet. She didn't see anything. But then, at night, when she was trying to find her pajama pants, she saw it staring into her soul. In her soul. Staring, smiling so hard that his lips were bleeding and getting bigger and bigger all the way to his eyeball. Then a red liquid went down his eyes. His eyes turned straight up black, only one little dot in both eyes. It was so creepy, she slammed the cabinet, screamed again. Her parents came in. She said, cabinet, and started tearing up. But instead, for normal tears, there was a little red in her tears. And then a real blood tear came down her face. Her parents were so scared. They looked in the closet, looked in every place they can in her room, even under the bed, even under the blankets, even in the cabinet, even in the drawer. Saw nothing at all. But then they did see something in her eye. 2 green eyes. And a smile. And she was tilting her head. Her parents said, "Stephanie, stop, or else you're grounded." She kept smiling. And then her lips went all the way up to her eyeball. And then her eyes, she blinked, her eyes turned black. But instead of straight up black, they turned white with black pimples. She was staring so hard, she was smiling so hard, she was shaking. And then the lights turned off. They were flicking all over the place. Then she started floating and then started screaming, and so hard that her lungs coming out her mouth. And there was ketchup all over it. Too much burgers these days. And guess what? Her parents smiled again. Well, not again, but they smiled also and said, "Yes, daughter, do exactly what I did." And found out those two were the monsters. The dad was supposed to be in the closet. The mom was in the cabinet. And then they randomly just spawned in the middle of the hallway so they can run in the room and act like they're her parents. But her real parents were in the basement, crying, yelling, trying to scream. But there was tape over their mouth. And then the daughter woke up in the basement because she passed out from screaming. But that wasn't her. That was their clones. A scientist that was her grandpa hated them. So he made clones to be mean to them. So then the clones came in the basement and started screaming and started laughing so hard in a funny way, with blood going down their eyes, thinking, "Why am I here?" But they were laughing. But then they froze. They looked down at their hands and then thought, "What am I doing?" They stopped. They fell down. They woke up staring. The 3 people in the dungeon, the mom, the dad, and the real daughter and the real parents, saw them.
What?
Started, "Wake up. It was all a dream." They were in their bed. Found out it was a nightmare. But then the daughter heard something in the closet and the cabinet. She went in her parents' room. She went into her parents' room. Saw nobody. She opened the cabinet in the closet and she saw a rat in the closet and a mouse in the cabinet. Her parents were in the closet, stuck with mice and mouse all over them. But one had their head in the cabinet with a mice and a mouse on it. But the mouse was kind of small, and the rat was so small it looked like a spike of ketchup. Then they woke up again in their bed. Stephanie woke up. She didn't check anywhere. She closed the door. She locked the door. She started crying. Her parents ran into the room. Well, not into the room. They knocked on the door, asking, "What's happening? What's happening?" But then, right on the same time where the knocking or the noise is supposed to be, she didn't hear anything. She opened the door and saw her parents smiling a little bit, but then stopped right as she opened the door and wondering, happened?" Tilt their head a little bit at the same time. And then their eyes flashed black for like a millisecond. Then the daughter was like breathing so hard. And then the parents smiled so much. Even the daughter started smiling too, but then stopped herself. And tried screaming, but her hand wouldn't stop moving and covered her mouth. She couldn't breathe. She passed out. Woke up in the basement and heard screams and knocking and pounding all over the place. Then she woke up again, but this time nothing happened. She cried so bad. She thought she had blood tears. She wiped her tear. It wasn't blood. Normal tears. She looked in her parents' room. They were still sleeping. And then he screamed, "Ah!" Parents woke up. They were looking around, saw her staring at the wall. But it was her imagination. Because she got so confused that she thought she saw the monster. But it was her own shadow. The end. The end. If you want to watch part 3, watch number 1 in this one, and then I'll be ready for part 3. Bye-bye.